Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jimmy, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at all of the settings to change immediately the moment you get yourself the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. Because this thing is able to fold in half, you have two different screens. You have your cover screen and then also the main screen when it's opened. So there's a few features that are specific to only the Galaxy Z Fold 7. Now in today's video, I will cover those towards the beginning of this video just to get those ones out of the way that are specific to the Fold 7. And then also normally towards the end of the video, I was showing you some of the customizations I would do on a phone. That's going to be the next video. Now I'm going to go off on the limb here and assume that you have already gone through the setup process of your phone, which means that you put in your Google account, your Samsung account, you put in your facial recognition as well as the fingerprint reader over here, and maybe you have gone out there and you have purchased tempered glass as well as a case for your phone. Now, if you didn't go through to buy a case or tempered glass, I will be placing the links below the video inside the description of what I am using here. Now, first off the bat, let's talk about the display settings, because as you can see, mine is dimming on me as I am speaking. So we're going to go right inside of the settings. And if this is new for you, when you swipe down, this is going to be your notifications. Swipe to the right, this is your quick settings, and you can always change this, and I'll show you how you can change this later on in the video. But this is where you go inside of your settings. You're going to scroll down and go inside of display. Inside of the display settings, I always like to use mine as dark because light is just a little bit too hard on my eyes, and it also takes too much battery to illuminate the entire screen. When your phone is set to dark, all of the black areas, it does not use any battery consumption at all because this is a AMOLED display, which means it's LED, so there is no illumination happening if it is showing black. Now, as you scroll down, you're going to see a couple things that are grayed out, and that is because these are the settings that you have to change when your phone screen is open. So I'm showing you this when it's closed first, just so then you know that there's a few new additional options you can do when it is opened. Now, to change the timeout, because that was what was bothering me at the very beginning, I'm going to move mine to 2 minutes. 1 minute might be better for you. I like 2 minutes because I can just set my phone, walk away, come on back, and then I can just resume what I'm doing. The 5 minute and 10 minute, that's going to take up and consume too much battery. But for me, I believe the 30-second and 1 minute is too short, but you can play around with the 1 minute and 2 minute and see what is best for you. Now, I'm going to scroll down just a little bit because I want to show you this option here, which is continue apps on cover screen. So as I mentioned from before, there's a few features and settings that are specific to the Fold 7. Now, out of the box, this one is set up to never. Now, what this means is that if your phone is open and you're using it and then you shut it, it will always just turn off the screen and lock your phone. So there's a couple different options you can use. First off, always. That means that anytime that you're using your phone when it is open, if you shut it, it'll always continue that application on the cover screen. Now, you also have this option here, which is swipe up to continue. Meaning, if I am using a application or whatever when this thing is opened, and then if I was to shut it, it's going to ask me swipe up to continue. So this way I can continue using this application. So this is the one that I'm going to choose to start off with, unless if I find myself always still wanting to use the phone when it's shut. So now that we have covered this one, let's move up a little bit and work our way towards the top of this display menu. So when it comes down to navigation bar, I'm more of a swipe gesture user. So if you like your buttons for your back, home, and recents, you can keep them if you would like, and there is more options for you. You can actually reverse them. But I am a gesture user. Swiping back just takes me back a screen, and then swiping up will get me home. Now, going right back inside of here, when you scroll up, this is where you have your edge panels. This is where, if you would like to, you can change the position of this edge panel, kind of like this handle right here. So you can bring it up and you can also bring it down. Put it wherever you would like. You can also change the transparency. So if you want the transparency low, so you want to see the button a little bit more. So I'm going to keep it right up over here. Also, you can make it bigger or smaller. Actually, out of the box, this is where it was, but I already changed it because it was bothering me just enough. So I brought it down just a little bit. I also brought this down a little bit. You can lock the handle if you would like, or even move the position to the left-hand side. You can make this thicker, you can make it thin, however you would like your little handle to look. Now, the reason why I mentioned that you can lock it is because if you press and hold on it, this is where you can move it up and down, and you can bring it over to the left. So if you want it to be locked, you can do that. I'm just trying to figure out exactly where my hand would be for that, because I use a lot of my back gestures right here. So I don't want to have my handle where my thumb always does the back gesture. So I put it just right above it. Now that we have played with this phone when it was shut, now let's move over to when this thing is open. So you can see that it opened up our display settings already because we were there. Scrolling on down, this is where you can see a few additional things. So if you take a look at your font size and style, this is just me personally. I like to bring mine up just one. You don't have to change that. And then for the screen layout and zoom, so right now this one's set up for multi-view out of the box. If you want it to be standard, you can. So right now you can see that this one is set up as like two different screens. So you're gonna have your left side and your right side. You know, it's right where that crease is. It's right where that little bend is in the middle. It's the same thing set up for your application tray. So it's basically two screens right here. So you can see this screen and this screen. So what you can do if you want it to go back, you know, something similar to, you know, a little candy bar shaped device, what you can do is underneath your display, you go to that screen layout and zoom and you go to standard. So now it's just going to be standard. You don't have multi-view. On your display, you only have one menu. You have one thing that you are looking at and you don't have the two anymore. So if you would like yours to be standard, you can move it to standard. When it comes down to the Fold series, you can just do more with this device, so you might as well have your two screens going on at the same time. Again, you know, it's replacing, you know, if you had two of those candy bar shaped devices. Now also you have your aspect ratio. When it comes down to this one, it's per application if you would like to change them. So if you have, let's say this application right here, you can put it as full screen always, or 4:3 or 16:9, because sometimes something could be a little too stretched or a little bit too big. Maybe you want your application to be as a 4:3 or 16:9. 16:9 might be a little bit too small, but maybe when you're playing games and you want your thumb to go all the way across or easier to reach everywhere, you can do 4:3 if you like. But just remember, this is a larger screen device. This is 8 inches on the internal screen right here. So full screen is going to be really fun to play with. And then scrolling down, this is where you have taskbar. So taskbar, this is where, if you would like, you can have up to 3 applications or even 4 applications if they are recommended or recent. So when you pull up your taskbar, right now it's set up as 3. If I set up the option as 4, it's going to show me 4 different applications to use. I would say 3 is pretty good when it comes to this one. But one thing I want to show you when it comes down to your taskbar. When it comes down to the taskbar, anytime that you're inside of an application and you swipe up, this is when you can see it. Right now, there's only 4 of them sitting there. And I'm going to show you a little trick where you can have more. So let's say that this is an application you use all the time, you bring it down. Let's say this is another application you use all the time, you bring it down. Now, when you go inside of an application, you're going to see all of those applications because that is now your taskbar. The other thing you can do is you can change how you want this taskbar to operate. So if you want it to show more often, then you can actually have it to where it'll always stay on the screen right there. So again, this is the taskbar. You have the option of auto hide or stay on screen. And you can see that they are just right there. Again, when you open up an application, it's going to be down there. And that just makes it very simple for you to open up another application, open up another application, open up another application, or you can run 2 applications at the same time, maybe one on the top, one on the bottom, one on the left, one on the right. And then that's how you can set this up. That's where that taskbar really comes into play and handy. Over here is all of the applications. So you can go through all of these things here, and again, you'd be able to open them up. So let's say that maybe you wanted to open up this application. Now you have that application open. So that was everything for the display settings to change, and you got to remember that one was a little bit longer than normal just because we have 2 displays on this phone. Now next up, you want to make sure you take a look at your application tray. So again, as I mentioned from before, it's as if you were looking at 2 screens at the same time. As you scroll down, you'll be able to see that you have this page and this page. It's very similar as if your phone was shut. Then you would just be looking at this screen, then you swipe over, then you see that screen. But let's kind of make a little bit of a change here. If you tap right over here and you tap on settings, then this is where you can do cover screen mirroring. Now, if you turn this off and then you hit on apply, what's going to happen is this. When the phone is shut, and let's say that we go through the applications. So I'm going to go right up over here and I go through all my applications. You see that they're all in their own, screen. Also, here's my home screens. I have 2 of them, just 1 and 2. And then now when you open your phone, what you'll see is that you only have this one home screen and that is it. So this right over here is just your Google News and everything like that. This is your home screen. There is nothing else there. And also too, your application screen right here, it's as if they're all just their own page right there. So they're not set up as 2 as they were from before. This is all now set up as 1. And how you can change it right on back is if you do this cover screen mirroring, and then you turn this one on and you hit on apply, then this is where it's going to look just like this. It's going to look just like however your home screen is because it's cloning it, it's mirroring it. and then that's how this is all set up. But here's the thing, all these applications here that I have transferred over from my Samsung Smart Switch, they are not in order, and there's just way too many of them. So what you can do is you can go right up over here, and then you can do sort, and you can do alphabetical order. And then I'm gonna hit on OK. In alphabetical order, they're all gonna be just like this, alphabetically ordered, but it's gonna be in a vertical style. Now that your applications are in alphabetical order, so they are cleaned up, you can actually organize this even more, and you can declutter this entire screen, because it might just be a lot that you're looking at, because there's a ton of different applications that are games. So what you want to do is just scroll up, and then this is where you find your gaming hub. So for gaming hub, on the top right hand side, go to your settings, and right there it says show game apps, and only have it in the gaming hub. It's just so easy. It organizes it into one spot. Anytime that you want to play a game, they are all just right here. Right there, almost in alphabetical order. These ones you can go through, and you can also change and sort them as well. So you can do recently played or alphabetical, however you want them to be. You might want to have the recently played possibly, because all of the main games that you play is just going to show up right up over here first. Then what that did is it cleaned this up right here. There's not as many applications. There is no gaming apps. It's all just going to be regular apps right here. The next setting to change is one dealing with flex mode. And again, you can't do this on any other candy bar shaped phone. It's going to be with your flips and your folds. So scrolling down, this is where you have your advanced features. And then you go to flex mode panel. That means when you flex your phone up like this, maybe you are watching YouTube or some application, you're watching it on the top, you're going to have tools that are along the bottom screen. Now, inside of these settings here, you can make it to where it'll automatically go inside of flex mode. So you can just go to any of these applications, turn it on, and that's when you can do it. Or it's just going to give you a little icon pop up, you tap it, and that's going to bring you your flex mode. Also, you can change where you have your scroll wheel position if you want it off or left or right. Now to show you what the flex mode looks like, let's go inside of YouTube, and I'm going to play this video here. So what'll happen is that when you pop this up and you move it over here, this is still playing the video towards the top. Down here, this is just the YouTube buttons, which is pretty nice. You got your rewind a little bit, you got your fast forward a little bit. This is the icon that you find and you tap it, and then this is your flex mode. So for these icons that's over here, this is if you want to open up another application. So you got YouTube on the top, you can open up another one down here. So this is your multi-window. This right here is going to be your notifications panel. So if you got a notification, this is where you can bring it down. This is the screenshot. This one right here is if you want to use a touchpad. So what's happening is I am moving this little cursor that's towards the very top. Also, I can bring down the video or make it bigger or smaller. So this wheel will give you several different options of what you could do depending on what application you're using. This over here just expands it to more. So this is where you can pull down your quick settings. You can do a screen recorder. This is where you can change your brightness level. So you just have all of your tools right up over here. And then this is where you can change your volume level. So you bring it up or bring it down. And then this right there would open up settings. And then if you want to bring this back down, you just tap right there, and it's going to bring you right back to whatever that application gives you during this flex mode situation. Now moving on to the camera settings to change immediately. Now when you go through a lot of these settings and your changes, just remember that when you go from photo to video, it's going to save separately. Same thing when you go to your front facing camera. If you make a change to your rear cameras and you would like to make those changes to your front cameras, you will do that as well. So when you go through and you take a look at these settings here, anything that you did for the rear, you might want to do for the front. Now, this icon on the top left-hand side, this just means that any picture that you take is going to show up, on the left-hand side. So once I take the picture, you're going to be able to see your picture immediately. This is where you can share it, like it, or you can delete it. And then you're still able to just continue using your camera application. Just depends if you like to use that or not. This right here is turning on your cover screen. So right now, the cover screen is on, so this way if somebody wanted to see and make sure that they're also in frame or that their hair looks good or something, you can turn on the cover screen so then they can see it as well. Also, this is where on the top you can change it from your 12 megapixel to 50 to 200. Just remember, if you go to the 50 megapixel or the 200, it'll take away some of the features of the camera, especially the zoom. Now this little 4 box that you see right there, that just means you're able to expand for more features and settings. So I'm going to lift this up just because I wanted to show you that there's another one I do like to use, which is called motion photo. That means it's able to record just a little bit before and a little bit after you hit the shutter button. So if you missed the key perfect frame shot, maybe somebody blinked, then you're able to go through that motion photo and pick that that best picture up. Also, when you get to an object that is close, this is where you can turn on or off the focus enhancer. So it's going to switch lenses for you to get a better shot if you get close to an object. Now moving over into video, this is where on the top you want to tap on that full HD, and this is where you want to change it and get a better quality. So when it comes down to recording, you can do full HD at 30 and 60 frames per second. You can also do the Ultra HD at 30 and 60, or you can record at 8K at 30 frames per second. So I always just suggest going to that Ultra HD, maybe going to either 30 or 60 frames per second. And then this is where if you would like to turn on or off your HDR. Now, the other thing too is that when you expand this one more time, this is going to be all of those settings again. Now, I like to shoot my video in 9:16, especially since I am a YouTuber. That is how it's shown on the TV and on your tablets and cell phones and such. Now, another big feature that I want to show you is one that's called auto framing. So when you pull this down, you're going to see this icon right there underneath video. So it's very similar if you went into photo and you went right over here and you had that motion photo. Well, inside of video, what you can do is when you pull this down, you have this option right there, which is auto framing on. So let me show you how this works. So if I was to go right over inside of my gallery, and then inside of gallery, I did a little bit of a test. So what I did was I did a screen record so you can see exactly what I'm viewing. So over here, I went inside of that auto framing on, and if I tapped on him, it's going to focus on him. If I was to tap somewhere else, it's going to focus on whatever was happening there. So right now the tracking is off. Now that the tracking is on with him, he's able to move over to the left-hand side, and I am not moving. It is just focusing on him. And it also works when you come towards the camera and also away. So here's a video that I did. So I set my phone down right there, right on that little table. And then I just wanted to show off exactly, just a few things that this thing is able to do. So I set it up. I have the auto framing on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move back left and right. And so I am moving about 12 feet. So from this, table over here to that trash can, that is right around 12 feet. So what it's doing with it just sitting on a table with nobody that is, managing this camera, that's not, following me or anything, it's able to fit me into frame, especially even when I walk up closer to the camera like this. It's able to move up, put me into frame, and then if I move on back, it's going to, again, change the framing to put me in there, my entire body. So I think that's a really cool feature, is playing with the auto framing on. So this is what I would change for my photo and video. Remember, if you change anything, this is where you want to go to your front facing. And if you would also like to change it, this is where you can do your Ultra HD, 60 frames per second for your front facing camera. And then if you move over to your photo, again, any changes you would like to change, you can make it right here, because this camera setup is its own camera setup as well. So it has its own settings. So now that you have done everything on the surface, what you can do is you can go to those 4 little boxes, go inside of these settings, and then there's a few additional things inside of here. When it comes down to the advanced video options, for this one, you can record and log. Right now it's set up to where you have to go into Pro Video only, but if you want it to be in your regular video mode, you can also have log as well. And it's going to have a little icon on the top right-hand side right next to HDR. So where you saw the HDR, you can now have the option for log. Now, the other thing inside of the advanced video options is the audio playback. What this allows is that you are now able to still listen to music while you record. So if I am Bluetooth to a speaker and I want to take a picture or video, specifically a video, usually what happened in the past phones is that once you hit on record, the music stopped. And then everybody knows that you are shooting a video. Or you just pause the music that everybody's listening to at a party. So what'll happen is that it's still going to play the music on a Bluetooth speaker, but it's still allowing you to record and then capture all the sounds and everything. Just remember, if you are playing music from your phone, turn that music down, because where the mic and where the speaker is, they are close together. So if you're listening to music on your phone and then you hit record on your phone, it's going to pick up that audio pretty loud. Now it's time to talk about your panel, the notifications page, and your quick settings right here. So how you can change this is you can go right up over here with that little edit button. So when you take a look at this screen, tap on edit. This is where you go to panel settings, and this is where you can put it all together. So if you are used to the old version of just swiping down, that's your notifications, swiping down again, that's your quick settings, you can only have your one page if you would like, and that is by putting it together. Or you can have it as separate. And just remember, when it comes down to this, When you swipe it down, this is your notifications. Swipe over, this is your quick settings. So all you got to do is just do a little swipe between the two, and then that is how that works. Now, the other thing that you can do with this quick settings page is you can hit that little edit button, and then you can move a few things around. So you can change the order of a lot of this. So when it comes down over into the smart view and the modes, I don't really use it that often, so I'm going to keep it down low. But nearby devices and home I do like to use, so I'm going to bring it up. What that does is it brings this portion right there towards the middle, and then this one even closer to my thumb, so I can make changes to my display and my sound. So I can turn up the volume, or I can also tap this to change it from sound over into vibrate. So that is how you can change the order of this page here. So again, as I mentioned, you can change it from vibrate to no sound to sound. You can change up, how loud you want your audio. You can change your display and all that good stuff. So I like to have it there, and I wanted this down. So all I did was I just brought one up. Now there's an additional thing that you can do and you can change, and that is with the help of Good Lock. Now when it comes down to that quick settings page right there, I don't really like looking at this right here. This is a 4x2. I would rather view more in that one page. So this is where you go inside of your QuickStar. And with QuickStar, what you can do is you can change the quick panel grid. So this option that is right there, I can make it to where it's super narrow. So now when I pull this down, you can see that I have more. So rather than like 2x4, this one is going to now be 2x6. So it's showing more in this one page just by toggling on this one thing. Now, originally, this is where Samsung normally is. Again, it doesn't show that much. I would rather have it be more narrow between the icons. The other thing is that I want to take a look at my clock settings because I love taking a look at what the date and the time is, and I can also show the seconds, meaning that I can see the time, the day, the date, and everything. If I pull it down once, now I can also see the seconds that wasn't there from before. But I always love seeing the date and the time and the day and everything at any given point in time, because other than that, you would always have to swipe it down just to see those details. Now moving on to device care. Now device care has quite a bit that's inside of there, dealing with, your battery and memory. So scrolling down, taking a look at device care, this is where you have all of this stuff. Looking at this main page first, I'm going to keep my performance profile as standard. I don't want to limit it and move it over into light. I do want to have auto optimization turned on, and I want it to restart on a schedule. So it's going to happen at 3 a.m. So this is when you're not really using your phone. So I'm going to just have it do it twice a week. Sometimes mine used to be 3 times a week. So Monday and Thursday, it's going to restart my phone at 3 a.m. So in this way, it's just going to have my phone just restart. Because the thing is if you just have it always running and running and running and running, you never restart your phone or turn it off, it's going to get slow and buggy. So that was more of the important stuff on this page right here. But now what you can do is you can head right over inside of battery. When it comes down to battery, what you can do is you can turn on your battery protection. So originally it's set up as basic. It's going to charge up to 100%. It's going to stop charging until it goes down to 95, and then it's going to charge again. But I don't want to have my phone keep going to 100%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to maximum, and I'm going to wait for it to just go up to 95%. That's it. So my phone is never going to reach 100% unless if I want it to change and I just turn it off. So this is just a way to kind of help the life cycle of your phone from going from 0 to 100, from 0 to 100. You can even help it even more if you want to bring it down to 90. So if you're somebody who is a high user of your phone, at least put it up to 95. Now, if I'm on vacation or if I'm traveling and I know for a fact that I have to have all the battery that I can because we're going to Disney or something, then you want to just turn this off. Put this thing all the way up to 100%. But on your normal day-to-day life, if you can just only put it to 95, then you should probably be good. Now, taking it back a page, now let's take a look over inside of memory. When it comes down over into memory, there is a couple things that I like to change. I think it's actually just one thing that I like to change. This is where I go to my RAM Plus, and I don't really need to have any more RAM. This thing has enough physical RAM that there is. I don't need to have any more virtual RAM, which allows for more applications to stay open in the background. This thing is perfectly fine when it comes down into how much RAM it has. If you have a phone that has lower RAMs, like you're down at like 6 or 8, then maybe you can turn this on. It's just basically what you're doing is you're dedicating like 2 gigs of the internal storage as a virtual RAM. But again, I'm going to turn this one off because I don't need it, but it just makes your phone have to do a restart. Now moving on to a setting that I think a lot of people forget, especially towards the beginning when they first get their phone, and that is the sound settings. Now here's the thing. When you get yourself a Samsung phone, it's going to come out as regular default. It sounds basic, kind of like an iPhone, but what you can do is you can go to the sounds and vibrations, and this is where you go to sound quality and effects. Now for this one, just turn on your Dolby Atmos. You can have it as auto, so it's going to figure out if it's movies or music or what you're watching. But for equalizer, move this thing over to dynamic. It's going to sound much better. You can do bass boost if you want, or treble, or smooth. Smooth is okay, but dynamic is, for me, the best sounding, and it's going to make a big difference when you listen to music or watch videos. The other thing that you can also do is right over here for boost dialogue. So when you are watching a video, if you want some of the voices to be a little bit more clear, a little bit more boosted, a little bit over some of the other sounds. So if you're having trouble listening to dialogue, somebody talking in a movie or whatever, or music, turn this on. It just depends on what you are doing. If you're listening to music a ton, you can turn this one off. But when you're watching a movie like Hulu or YouTube or whatever you may be doing, Netflix, turn this one on and it'll make a difference. This next setting to change is one for your mobile hotspot. So if you have a laptop that wants to connect, or maybe a phone, or if you have a son or daughter that's not old enough to have a mobile data just yet, but a phone that they use here and there, maybe on some trips, this is where you can go through some of those settings. So when you take a look at your connections, go to mobile hotspot and tethering. When it comes down to your mobile hotspot, this is where you can change the name of your phone, you can change your password, but this is where you can change your band. Now, if you want it to be fully compatible with anybody and everybody, you can put it as the 2.4 gigahertz. But what you can do is you can move to this one right here, which it's going to show both of them. It'll show both bands for them to connect to, the 2.4 gigahertz or the 5, depending on whatever you want to connect it to. Now, if you're really going for performance, you can switch it over to 5 gigahertz, but remember, not every device can connect to 5 gigahertz. And then you also have your 6. So if you're really looking for performance for laptops and whatever you're connecting to, you can make it to where you have just these ones that's available. Or what you can do is you can have it to where it's almost more compatible, but still a little bit more performance, the 2.4 and the 5. So when you do turn on your mobile hotspot, it's going to show both. And then lastly, let's go inside a phone, because this is pretty fun. When your phone is open like this, it's going to look a little bit different than when it's shut. But all you got to do is when it is shut, you just open up your phone, and it's going to be on the top right. This is where you go inside of your settings. And then for the settings, you have a couple cool features that you can turn on. The first one is going to be call captions. So if you have a little bit hard of hearing, or if you're talking to somebody and it's difficult for you to listen to them because you're somewhere where it could be loud, then you can turn this on and it's going to do a live caption of what is being stated. So then this way, again, if it's harder for you to hear what is going on, you can just look at your phone, whatever you're doing, and then you can see the captions of the phone call. So I'm going to keep mine on for now. That's going to be pretty fun. And then you can also change the call background. So you can change the background of whatever this thing looks like. You can even put it over into this little video here. If you were to listen to this, but my phone is on vibrate right now. But if you take your phone off vibrate, you can listen to this sound right here, which is its own ringtone. And you can even use the video sound as the ringtone. If you don't want it to, you don't have to, but it's a way that you can change how you want to have your call background set. So if you want it to be like a different color or a different setup or something from your gallery, you can do that. But this video is pretty fun that you can do. And again, you can set that one up as your call background. And that's where I'm going to end this video today. There's a lot of stuff that I still want to do with this phone, especially when it comes down to customizations. So that's going to be the next video that I'll probably cover. And it's all the customizations to do on your Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. But hopefully you guys have appreciated this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Subscribe on the very bottom left-hand side. And if you like this video, then more than likely you'll also like this video. And I'll see you guys later.